And I pray for grace and mercy, for clarity in the manner by which I would disclose your word to your people. And at the end of our time together, breaking word together, and that the beauty of your counsel and the magnificence of your presence will be all that we would have in our time today. Your word is a lamp unto our feet. In your presence is our joy. And to reveal and disclose to us the precious things concerning your kingdom. And may we be granted the favor to follow swiftly. In Jesus' name, amen. I begin with a recollection of a crucial failure in my personal attempt in trying to be a good pastor. A crucial failure that involves perhaps a person whom I was not planning to be a failure with. It involves my father. My father was my hero. He taught me a lot of things about life and how it ought to be lived. Little things, medium-sized and large things. Taught me how to box, bought me my first boxing gloves, and taught me how to throw a punch. Taught me how to do magic tricks and how to clean a gun. Bought me my first basketball, and from scratch we built the basketball court in the backyard, and after that played our first game. He would rouse early at 4 o'clock in the morning to prepare me for the English grammar exam. He was iconic. He was like larger than life. Taught me how to drive. Very kind-hearted man who loved no one except my mother. Or so it seemed. He died on the 3rd. If it were a baseball game, you know how it is. When a good man suffers too many hits in his life, and you're almost there on the home plate and you die on the 3rd. And that was the story of my dad, because I guess the pressures were humongous. He wasn't able to contain it. He is a fine religious man, fine Christian man who knows the Lord, the son of a pastor. He's a lawyer, brilliant in mind, but he just couldn't contain it, and so he took on bad company. And of course, when you take on bad company, the rest is compromised. And the story has it that my father had some relationships, and I was the first to deny because he was my hero, right? When you have a hero, and some reports are given to you that your father is compromised, you say no, that's not true. Of course you know it's true, but you just kind of like say no, it's not true. Rumor has it that not only does he have some extracurricular activities. When my mother left for the United States, I was left alone in the Philippines, and all the more, the compromise escalated, and the story has it that not only was he in pursuit of some extracurricular activities, but there are rumors that he was seen with a child. And I said, of course not. Of course not. I said, my dad would never do that. Well, my dad is dead. In 2010 he went home to be with the Lord. But I must quickly add that he returned back his affections to the Lord Jesus. And so the final years of my father were totally different from the compromising years. The Lord granted him grace and mercy, so that the last years of his life were back into the fellowship and the sweet fellowship of the Lord. Although he had Alzheimer's, the Lord's grace prevailed. But nonetheless, there was a mystery, some kind of a mystery that's about myself. There's a saying that when something happens to your father, and sort of a mystery, there's a thing where when you try to study who you are the lost, because there's something about an earthly father that is so important. I get it. I'm a father now, and I have 2 daughters, and I get this every day, that they anchor upon the weight of my leadership. Although one is married, but still I feel that, and they give me that honor that they are anchoring upon my leadership. So I understand, I get that. But there is one thing in my father's life that's kind of like a missing thing, just because of my failure to be a pastor at a very crucial time. You see, I was already in the seminary. I was training in the seminary when my father's compromise escalated. And so all the more I was kind of like, didn't want to deal with it because it was so dark. The rumors that he has these affairs. Well, about a year or 2 years ago, they say that when you kind of like look at Facebook and you hit Isaac Sitzman, there's a possibility that there is another Isaac Sitzman that's named like you, but it's not like you, right? So don't go to Facebook, promise me. I went to Facebook and I hit Russell Diwa, and there was a Russell Diwa. He doesn't look like me, but he lives in the Philippines. And I had an unusual coldness because he looks like me. Oh my goodness. And then I turned it off. No, I said. But there's something, you know what this is, and I haven't opened that portal. One of these days I'm going to chase it down, like Cold Case, CSI. If there's something to it, because story has it that my father chased after a woman named exactly the name of my mother. It's a crazy thing, you know, this world, what it does to men who are in pain. And so, the reason why that is so sad, because I was training to be a pastor, and one morning, I came from Baguio City, and I arrived at the house. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. I was tired because of academics. I was trying to memorize Greek things in my head. And I arrived home 3 o'clock in the morning. Guess who was parking at 3 o'clock in the morning, just arriving? My dad, drunk. And so we meet at the door. It smells like wild. And I go, "Mom, it's 3 o'clock in the morning." "Yeah, I know." And then I said something that was very harsh. And I said, "What happened to you, Pa?" And then of course I'm going to edit this, but I went straight to him and I said, "I really do not know you. What happened to you? Why are you doing this to your life?" I can never forget what my father said. You know what he said? He looked at me and said, "Son, this might be the day that I was actually waiting for. That we, the two of us, can just talk about this thing. Because I really want to let you know what happened to me. Can we go now?" He said, "Can we go to the bar?" He actually said that. Hey, go to the bar. When I heard that, you know what I did? This is my failure. I went inside the house, run away from him, and slammed the door. And he went back again to the bar. Maybe to drink with some guys in order to spill some of the stuff that he needs to spill to me. But I wasn't winning. Never opened the door again. Never asked it again. And then he died. If you're going to ask me if I'm going to give him, if you're going to give me a time machine, and you're going to ask me what day would you want to return, I would return back to that day. And tell my dad, Pa, let's go to the bar. I probably would have known myself better. Because to this day I'm 56 years old, and if you think I know myself, I'd be lying to you. By the mercies of God, I turn to God and ask Him always, God, tell me who I am. Because there's so many things in my life that needs to be known. You say in Psalm 139 that you are the only one who knows me, period. I cannot pretend to know myself. And you guys, we major in looking at each other and saying, that guy, I know him. Come on, people. That is so untrue. We pretend that we know people, right? We put them in boxes and we say, that lady over there, I know her. That one, I know her. Him, her, we know. Me, I know myself. Come on, people. Confucius said, you want to know yourself? Know thyself? Confucius said. I tried that and I became more confused. Because I find in the Bible that if you want to be confused about who you are, you start with yourself. And there is something else to be said about that, because in the Bible we are specifically told if you want to know yourself, don't even start with yourself. You begin with God. You draw near to Him, and then all this craziness around your life, even the dark places and the bad places, God will piece them all together, and before you know it, everything will work together for good. Because even before you were born, your dad, your mother, God already knows what they're going to do. That's crazy. I don't get that because I'm not God. But if God knows what my mom and dad will do even before I was born, that means I'm safe. That means it's not my responsibility anymore, right? But it's their own choices before God. It frees me up. Now it gets better, because now, the reason why I'm starting with a very gripping, I don't want for you to gossip about this and begin blogging and Facebooking about my dad. Will you please honor him? Please promise me. Because I honor my dad, because he died well. I'm just exposing a part of my narrative here to let you know that this is real, people. I'm not faking this, because this one helps me a lot. This sermon helps me a lot. To understand who I am and the people around me. Because we pretend we know each other. We are joking. We don't. We need to go to God. And then He will tell us who we are. And that's what it means to draw near. That's the reason why after He died and He rose from the dead, He made sure He was going to teach His followers the most important things. He wasted no time. And so He showed Himself up to His disciples immediately after rising from the dead. He wanted them to draw near to Him. In John 21, that's documented. This is the epilogue, this is the summary, this is the main thing of all the things that I want for you to learn. This is the main thing, people. This is what He's saying to His disciples. So quickly now, I'd like you to turn to John 21. And the first thing that I'd like for you to note is the aspect in drawing near to God of the horizon, the horizontal aspect. Horizontal aspect. When you say that you want to draw near to God, understand that there is the horizontal component, which is basically made up of the people, the different people that God is leading in to your life. Did you see that? After this, Jesus showed himself or revealed himself or disclosed himself to his disciples by the Sea of Tiberias, verse 1. And he revealed himself in this way. You see, Jesus is revealing himself, who he is as a Redeemer. And we are told Simon Peter, Thomas, Nathaniel, James and John, 2 other disciples, where? Fill in the blanks. They were together. I'd like for you to highlight that. Something happens when different people suddenly invite Jesus into their lives. No matter how different you are, some of you are artistically prone, some of you are mathematically drawn, some of you are into academics, some of you are into leisure, some of you are into a lot of unique, wonderful things. And so you gravitate towards these things. But when you surrender your life to Jesus, something happens. These differences break down, and suddenly you just want to be together. I see this. Immediately after church, you can hardly leave each other. Do you realize how long you stay? Because you just want to be, fill in the blanks, together. After church, what do? You inform each other where you're going for lunch. And many of you are not done with that. They go all the way. You just want to be together because something happens when a Christ-centered affection is turned on. There is the horizontal dimension that kicks in, and suddenly you are drawn to be together. Simon Peter said to them, I am going fishing. They didn't say, can you teach us how to fish because you are the expert? No. When Simon Peter said, I'm going fishing, what did they say? We will go with you. Isn't that crazy? That in Christianity, that in this fellowship, our emphasis is just being together. I'm looking at this guy right here. Yeah, the one who's pretending is not looking at me. This guy has been pursuing me like a hawk. This guy, just one example, this guy is a good bowling player. You know, he beat Paeng Nepomuceno, the World Cup player, twice. This guy over here, he's been very persistent. Wants me to go with him bowling. And you know how scary that thing is for me? Because I don't have a bone. I just don't have a bone here. And just imagining myself carrying that ball on a weighted leg on my right leg with no bone drives me crazy. But one day, this guy was so kind, he bought me a ball. A bowling ball with a band. And tells me, Pastor, it's your birthday. Blessings. Here's your ball. What am I going to do with this? Well, one day, let's go bowling. Well, ask him. He'd asked me 10 times. How many times did I say no to you? 12. But I go ask him. I said, tell me Tell me, I said, Brando, why are you fatally attracted to me? I asked him. And then he said, you know, Pastor, he looked at me sternly. You know, Pastor, you need to know that my company before I became a Christian was bad. I made a vow before God. I'm going to stay away with that company. And I'm going to stay with godly people only. So, he said, bowling is just my excuse. I just want to be with you. So I went to the bowling alley, and a world-class trainer trained me, and I beat him twice. I know he was just sandbagging, but that's okay. But this is crazy good. And so I told them, my goodness, I should invite the men and join us in this bowling game. If a man who has no bone can bowl, this good guy can teach us, it's just a lot of fun. Because he just wants to be with me. And now I want to be with him. This is crazy. It's not fatal attraction. It's the horizontal dimension of what happens when Christians become Christ-centered. You just want to be with others even if you do not know how to bowl. Did you get that? This amazing thing is happening because the fishermen were saying, we will go with you. We will go with you. And they went. And so that's the horizontal thing. They went out and got into the boat, but there was a sad thing. That night, they caught, verse 3, they caught nothing. Now, how's that for Peter, who's a seasoned fisherman? Well, probably he's scratching his head because the other guys were rambunctious. They didn't know how to fish. And so it's probably troubling the fish. But nonetheless, they caught nothing. But, remember, there's the horizontal thing. There is, of course, the vertical thing, right? When you draw near to God, there's not only this horizontal thing that draws you to people with diverse temperaments and diverse interests, but there is this thing that drives you vertically. The relationship that you have with God radically changes. Because I submit to you, I'd like you to pay attention because there are two kinds of Peters that are going to show themselves up here. Two kinds of Peter. The first Peter. Look, they caught nothing. And then just as the day was breaking, Jesus stood on the shore. Yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. There was probably a fog, early morning fog, and Jesus said to them, by the way, they're still processing this thing. This is the third time that Jesus showed up before them. It's probably very difficult to process this, that if my dad who died suddenly shows up after 3 days, what would I do? Would I say, hello Papa, welcome home, welcome back? That's nerve-wracking. Well, Jesus showed himself up to them, and these guys still do not know what to do with it. It takes hours or days, probably weeks or months to process how in the world did this actually happen, that a man who was with us is suddenly really alive and is eating with us. How in the world? And so he was standing on the shore, yet the disciples did not know that it was Jesus. Jesus said to them, children, do you have any fish? You know, that's very delightful. That's why I want for you to study carefully the Bible, because the word here is, children, do you have any fish? I will translate that in Kapampangan so that you get it in Greek, okay? I hope this works. Children, do you have any fish? You know, in Pampanga, Ate Irma, you get this. When we are from Pampanga, the normal greeting for a person who enters the house is this. Have you eaten? That's how in our culture. In Kapampangan, we go, may nga na kayong asan? You know, fish is used as a term for, have you eaten something? May nga na kayo, naning asan you? What is your meal? And in this case, Jesus was actually asking, have you guys eaten? This is interesting. You can only find this in the Greek. And so, the NIV translations actually miss it, because there's no equivalent. And so this is very good. Children, have you eaten? Do you have any fish? And they answered him, no! Of course, they were thinking about the fish that they're trying to catch. And Jesus said to them, well, cast the net on the right side of the boat, and you will find some. Without thinking, they cast it on the other side, and now they were not able to hold it in because of the quantity of fish. Now, the disciple whom Jesus loved, John, who is writing this gospel, therefore told Peter, Peter, it is Jesus, it is the Lord. When Simon Peter heard that it was the Lord, he put on his outer garment, for he was stripped for work, and threw himself into the sea. And look, this is so good. I'd like you to imagine this. They caught nothing, and this guy on the shore tells them to throw it on the right side. They throws it. And suddenly they can pull it. Oh my goodness, what? And then John says, oh my goodness, Peter, it's Jesus. And then Peter goes, oh my goodness, the impetuous Peter. You know, do you have an impetuous guy? Kind of like an impulsive guy. Who's an impulsive guy here? Who, if there's a fire, he's going to be the first out. Peter is like that. Peter is the promised old guy. Huh? Remember? He was willing to die for Jesus. He cuts the ear immediately. He does not process. He speaks before he thinks. He's impetuous. So when he saw that it was Jesus, he was kind of like wearing a Speedo. And, you know, how fishermen are. They remove everything. They wear Speedo. Kind of like, you know. And then his outer garment, which is a very intricate robe, it's there lying down. He picks it up. And he just ties it around him like a sweater, like a preppy sweater. You know how it is. Like that. And then he dies. Going towards Jesus. Because he wants to be the first to be with Jesus. That's crazy. You know why? It is only crazy if you read the entire gospel, because in Luke 5, he does the exact opposite. This happened before. Same stuff. The disciples were fishing. They didn't catch any fish. But Jesus, who did not die yet, told them, you guys, did you catch any fish? No! Throw it on the other side. They did the same thing. And they were about to drown because of so many fish. But when Peter, in Luke chapter 5, not this one, when he saw Jesus, he jumped into the water. But before he jumped, he said, I'm a sinner. I'm staying away from you. And he swam away from Jesus. Did you see that? What is this point here? The point is this. Jesus, when you are confronted with Jesus, you are left only with two options. No middle ground. The claim of Jesus is this: I created the entire universe, including you. I gave you your breath and everything about your life. And I demand that you submit to me and serve me. Now that's a totalitarian demand. You have no options. Either you run away from that, or you swim towards Him. Let me repeat that. There is no middle ground. That's why there are only two kinds of people. Those who run away from Jesus, and those who swim towards Jesus. There is no Lord, I get you 50-50, okay? 50 yours, 50 mine. Right there in the middle. No such thing. That's not Christianity. That's not what Jesus is asking. Maybe you say, okay, 70 na nga. 70 you, and the rest is mine. Good deal. That's not it. Or maybe you're trying to be holy. Jesus, okay, you got me. 90, you. I will tithe. 10% me. I will run my life 10%. You got me 90. It will never work. The claim of Jesus is, now that you know me, allow me to run your life 100%, and then I'll give you what I promise you. Abundant life. If you don't have that, people, don't kid yourself. The promise of Jesus is 100%. A yieldedness, surrender to Him, and the promise is this: 100% abundance, joy to you. That's why Peter, in Luke chapter 5, ran away from Jesus. Because Peter knew, I can't do this. I'm a sinner. But here, he swims towards Jesus. Impetuous, but good, because he's swimming right through. And so he reaches Jesus first. The other disciples came in the boat. They were dragging the net full of fish. Did you see how funny this is? Because the strongest guy, Peter is so buff, by the way. Peter's so buff. You know how this is so good? Peter's the strongest guy. He's the fisherman. You know how it was? I had a kind of like, I had a thing in my house that I needed chairs. So I borrowed from the admin people some 35 chairs. Because I had an event in my house. I borrowed the stackable chairs, these chairs. And I was returning them. I borrowed a pickup truck and I was just turning them there. And I was already like physically challenged, right? And it so happened that my son-in-law was visiting in Mecca, the giant man. So, I was slowly bringing them down. This chair and that chair, that's all that I can handle. And painfully. And I think my brother-in-law was there. So they were carrying one each. And then Meg grabs 10 chairs. Like they're a piece of paper. And they go, hey Papa, scoot a little bit, because I'm gonna make this quick. And Megan that's gonna, no, Papa, it's okay, I can help you. And he's just kind of like walks like the paper. It's kind of like, I'm thinking of Peter, that guy, he leaves them, and so these scrawny other disciples couldn't even land the boat, right? Because Peter was already there. But because they're tired, guess what's awaiting them? Guess what's awaiting them? Well, when they finally reach the shore, not too far, just 100 yards, this is what happened. And they finally reached the shore. Guess what? This is the most amazing thing for me. And they got out of the land, verse 9. They saw a charcoal fire in place with fish laid out on it and bread. Guess what Jesus was doing? He was preparing breakfast for the men. Oh my God. I said, the Son of God preparing breakfast for the men. This is amazing because this happened in the Old Testament when the prophet Elijah was smitten with depression. He was about to kill himself, and he was so depressed that he was in a very deep sleep. And the angel of the Lord, by the way, in the Old Testament, scholars believe that the angel of the Lord is actually the pre-incarnate Christ. The angel of the Lord woke up the depressed prophet and he said, didn't do that. He didn't do that. While the prophet was asleep, he just kind of like nudged him. Hello, son. Wake up. Huh? Yeah, wake up. I got some fresh bread for you. Come, let's eat. The prophet just ate. And depression was gone. And that's the best counseling procedure I've ever seen in scriptures. You know, sometimes we make it too complicated, but some of the best procedures that I've used in my own field is this. When someone is depressed, I take them out. I don't even talk about the problem, and I just take them to Canton, and after that they get sleepy. I don't know what's in the Canton food. And then I told them, I said, I don't have any more problems, Pastor. What did I do? Nothing. I just fed them. You know, probably it's not the feeding, but it's the companionship. It's just the being with another person that helps solve a great deal of problems, which is a vertical connection anyway. And so Jesus prepared breakfast, and Jesus said to them, you know, I'm broiling fish here, but bring some of the fish that you have just caught. And so Simon Peter went aboard and hauled the net ashore. Look at this, this is delicious. Full of large fish, 153 of them. And although there were so many, the net was not torn. And Jesus said to them, come and have breakfast. Now this is fascinating, 153. How in the world did that happen? Well, why did they count it? People, some skeptics are saying, this is crazy. Why would they know 153? Come on, people. I am from the Philippines, from the province of Pampanga, and there's constantly flood. When there's a flood in my town, the dirty canals suddenly produce fish. You know what we do? We go out and we hop into the dirty canal because suddenly there are fish. I don't know where they came from. You know? Ask Peter Aguilar, the basketball player. He knows what I'm talking about. This is what we do in Pampanga. We go to the dirty canal and we don't care. It's all mud. And we just get the fish and put them in some kind of a container, throw them there, throw it there, and we're having fun, and all of us, what in the world? And then throw it there. And then when it's done, we can't wait to brag about this to our sisters, to our parents, to our peers. And so we say, Junior, bilangan mo na rin, bilangan mo na, count them. Come on, count them. My goodness, I shot about 15 there. So please count them. And the guy is counting, 42, 44, 43, 44. And so we run back to the house and we will say, Ima, 44 ayasan, arakap me. 44 fish. And we report that. And these guys are like that. Somebody got excited, began counting, my goodness, we have not caught this amount of fish in our lifetime. 153. That's why it's written. This is the word of God. It's exact, people. This is how rich the word of God is. It is not hearsay. You never find this in epic legends and Greek mythology because they don't have this. This is literal eyewitness account. This is good, right? And so, none of the disciples dared to ask Jesus, who are you? Because they knew it was the Lord. Jesus came and took the bread and gave it to them, and so with the fish. I love this. You know what's happening here? This is a signal. Jesus is inviting them into a breakfast meal. In the ancient days, during the time of Jesus, when you invite people into meal times, it isn't merely inviting them to feed them, but in order to register your inmost desire to tell them that you are so delightfully interested in them, and that you want to know them deeply, and that you treasure them, that you want to enter into their lives. Jesus is trying to tell them, I'm so delightful. I'm so delighted. And I just want to know you, and you need to know me. And let's start this intimacy, this relationship. Did you get that? I pray that we recapture that when we invite people into lunches. You know, looking at me right now, Ate Rose, you are a delightful host. When you invite me into your house, Ate Rose and Kuya Oli, hats off to you, ma'am. When I go to Ate Rose's house, when she knows that I'm going to be in that house, I enter a house and I wonder if someone's living there because it's so clean. Like she prepares it well, scrubs the corners. Not only that, I'm shocked. You know why I'm shocked? Because there are no paper plates. She uses china in order to serve food and real world-class utensils. Shame on me, because when there's a Bible study in my house, I tell my wife, oh, punta ka na sa Walmart, bili ka ng paper plates. Yung mura lang ha. Get the paper plates. And more often than not, something happens because, you know, I get these cheap paper plates and they're soaked with soup and spills. So I tell the guests, take two, huh? Take two. What kind of quality? This is not to say that I'm going to ban our paper plates in Bible studies. No, this is North America. I get you. You cannot wash 50 china plates after a hard Bible study. I get you. But that's not my point, okay? My point is this. My point is, I think Ate Rose's heart is right on. This is very convicting because I would have to take my china out of my shelf, which are actually in plastics. Very convicting. I should practice what I preach, right? And I have to be the one to wash it anyway, right? Anyway, but you get invited, and your mom too never uses no. Something happens when you receive a meal that's kind of like an array that makes you feel that you're being treasured, right? What would you feel like if the Bible study is going on and suddenly, by the way, this actually happened. The Bible study is going on, don't worry, it's not from you. And while the Bible study is going on, the owner of the house takes out the vacuum cleaner and starts vacuuming and looking at the watch. What does that make you feel? Does that make you feel, I want to relate with you, you are treasured here? No. No, it doesn't, I don't know why I'm belaboring this point, because it is so vertical. You will not be able to do this, not unless you get this, that you are actually being given favor by God to host people into your lives because there's something that's going to be beautiful that's going to happen as a result of that invitation. As a result of that invitation. If we give them first class, there's going to be some first class that's going to happen in our appreciation of who God is and what He's doing into our lives. So I pray that we soup up our homes for this purpose. It is the grand gift of hospitality that I think comes from the example of Jesus. He came and took the bread and gave it to them, and so with the fish. This is the third time that Jesus revealed Himself to the disciples, and we go to the last point, which is of course your horizontal, you have vertical, and now you've got internal. Now, you know how it is when you eat at the beach, for those of you who are vacationing, you know how it is to eat broiled fish and in a saal at the beach, you know? And you need to walk after that, right? You need to walk, right? You know how fun it is? You eat by the beach side. Of course you need to walk. You need to walk it out. Huh? dami nilang kanin nun. So you walk. And so when they had finished breakfast, Jesus, of all the ones that are present, singles out, guess who? Simon Peter, who 3 days ago did something really, really bad. Well, what did Simon Peter do on Good Friday, anyway, prior to the crucifixion of Jesus? Not on Good Friday days, yeah, but before the crucifixion of Jesus. Well, the impetuous Peter, who promised the Lord, "You will never die over my dead body." No, I will never. My friends here, they probably will run away. I will not. I will protect you. That's why when Malchus, the soldier, was about to put the handcuffs on Jesus, what did Peter do? Like a samurai warrior. And Jesus said, "Peter, that's not how the way it ought to be. Put that ear and put it back like that." Peter, that's not the way you do stuff in my kingdom. Peter's like that. But then when the rubber met the road, some people asked him before the Lord was crucified, "How do you like this? How does this turn out? Your dad is about to be crucified, Isaac, here, by the ISIS. There's this ISIS verdugo. And then he looks at you. And you look like Demrick Sitzman. Do you know him?"
Yeah.
Let's pretend that Isaac says, "Of course not." And he says that 3 times. I'm going to ask you a question. Did Isaac Sitzman deny the Sitzman clan? Well, you can argue for that, but he denied the person of his father. I'll take that. You've been with Jesus, and you're Peter, and you made all the promises that you're going to die for him, and you're radical about your faith, that Jesus can trust you because you're the most buff of all. And then you get 3 questions. Do you know Jesus? Do you know this? Of course not. 3 times. No wonder Jesus singles him out. Right? Jesus singles him out. And so he goes, "Peter, let's take a walk." Uh-oh. Uh-oh. And so Peter stands up. Jesus said to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than this?" By the way, the word love there is agapao. This is very interesting in the Greek form. "Simon, son of John, do you love me more than this?" Agapao, which is actually a term for sacred love. Okay? Sacred love. But Peter said, "Yes, Lord, you know that I love you." He uses the word phileo, which is actually an affection-driven love. Not necessarily not sacred, but affection-driven. It's full of emotions. He says, "You know, Lord, that I love you." Something's happening internally. And then Jesus looks at him and says, "You feed my lambs, okay?" Understand that these are the most important words of Jesus because he's about to depart to go to his Father. Now, listen, Jesus did not stop there. How many times did Peter deny Jesus? This is now the 2nd time. Jesus confronts him with the 2nd question. "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Again, the word is agapao. Do you love me? And then Peter, of course, probably stammering, said to him, "Yes, Lord, you know that I phileo you, agapao, full of emotions, affectionately. You know that I love you." And then Jesus said, "Well, take care of my sheep. Feed take care. And then he said to him the third time. Do you get this? Something's happening here. The third time. Simon, son of John, do you love me? And then Jesus uses the word for love, phileo. He uses the word phileo, not agapao. He says, Peter, do you love me? Affectionately. He now turns around and validates it, and Peter goes, Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you. It is very interesting that Peter didn't say, Lord, you know I love you more than these disciples, because that's your question, right? Do you love me more than this? That's your question, right? You want me to compare my love with all these other disciples of yours? Of course I do. He didn't say that. He has reached the point of brokenness that he knows that he's not really capable of bragging anymore. He says, truly, I cannot brag about anything anymore. But I know you know it. You know that I deeply love you, considering my failures, considering how I denied you, considering my weaknesses, considering my sinful tendencies. You know that I love you. And this is fascinating. When Jesus heard that, Jesus commissioned him. There should be excommunication. This should have been the Lord Jesus saying, Peter, you know you struck 3. You're out. But Jesus is the right person. What matters to Jesus is the repentant, genuine brokenness. And then he commissions Peter in a staggering act of restoration, in placing Peter to become lead officer of a band of believers who are just about to turn the world downside up. After this encounter, Peter was never the same again. That's why my failure with my dad hangs on a balance. God knows how I regretted not pastoring my dad. We are so good in evangelizing people, but we are very poor pastors. Because I think we miss the horizontal, vertical, and internal dimensions of what Jesus wants for us to do. The practice is this: expand your willingness to welcome others into your life. Are there people that are being brought into your life by God? That's not an accident, especially people that you do not like. I have an observation about my life. In my own experience, the people who have given me the best in terms of allowing me to know who I am are the people that initially I didn't like. I'd like for you to do an inventory of the 3 people that you don't like. And offer up in prayer and tell God, I don't like these people. And say, but in your name, let me make the first step. I will initiate and show me the jewels, please. Expand your willingness to welcome others into your life. Number 2. Expose your incompetence while inviting God for help. No one is ever competent by himself. No one. I can do nothing apart from Christ. Stay away from the mantra that you are all-knowing and that you are omnipotent. omniscient. It's just not true. We are all incompetent in inviting the help of God. This is not to say that you are going to be fixated with your incompetence. No. God is changing us from day to day to become the kind of people that He longs for us to be, people of excellence. That's why He's calling us to hone our craft for the kingdom of God. Number 3, perhaps the most important, exhibit depth in demonstrating Christ's love without borders. In practical form, this is it. Don't run for an office in church, especially in church. Don't run for a position. Peter was never called to be a pastor. The calling was a verb. Feed my sheep, tend my flock, care for my sheep. The biblical community church is not my church as your pastor. It is not my flock, and so are the other churches of Christ. They are singularly the church of Jesus. Although you call me pastor, I am just an under shepherd. The Lord is the shepherd. But we must pastor well, not only me, but you. We are pastors to each other. We are a royal priesthood. We encourage one another. We lift each other up without any borders. The primacy of our vocation as people of God is to care for one another, to grow in the knowledge of God and in the obedience of God. Our primary concern is to restore the ones who are wayward, like what Jesus did to Peter. The demonstration of utmost grace and mercy, which can only come from those who are truly drawn near to Christ. Our Father, we pray for such a time as this, that the narrative of what took place before the Lord Jesus ascended into the right hand of the Father, may we take it seriously and joyfully, because of the beautiful command that we take one another seriously. For it is in the caring and the nurturing and the intent to flourish, cause the flourishing of the others, especially in the church, are we able to know the true meaning of what Christ is truly trying to teach us. They will know. They will know the name of Christ and what it stands for by our love. And so we beg you, teach us, teach us, teach us. Amen.